Today we're going to find out if the RTX 4080 measures up to the enormous leap in price versus its predecessor, the RTX 3080. At a $1,200 MSRP, it's 71% more expensive at launch. So, does it deliver 71% more performance? Nope. Meet the Silent Wings Pro 4, the latest in the legendary line of silent, high-performing fans from Be Quiet. Available in 120 or 140mm sizes and with a high-speed option, the Silent Wings Pro 4 provide next-level cooling performance for your system using their optimized fan blade design and virtually inaudible operation. And with a 300,000-hour lifespan and 5-year warranty, these things are built to last. Check out the link below for more information. New hardware season rolls on, and today we're looking at NVIDIA's newest, the RTX 4080. Traditionally, GPUs numbered 80 have represented the highest end of consumer products, before reaching into the stratosphere for Titan-class performance and price. 2 years ago, we got the RTX 3080 for a $700 MSRP, a monumental leap in power and technology from the disappointing RTX 2080. But at the same price, at least for the FE model. Today, the RTX 4080 comes in at a rather staggering $1,200, a price tier previously reserved for only Halo products. This follows the trend of the RTX 4090, which slotted in at $1,600 when it launched about a month ago. I think I shared a similar sentiment as other reviewers on that one though. The overall performance of the 4090 was so far and above what we had previously seen out of any product that the high price could be forgiven. If you wanted the best, there was now a clear answer, and one that was likely worth the eye-watering price tag. But now we have the middle child of the 40 series lineup, and as we all know, middle children tend to be a little messed up. So let's start with the most important thing this time around. No, it's not the specs. No, it's not the gaming benchmarks, it's the price. The GTX 980 launched at $550. The GTX 1080 FE launched at $700. The RTX 2080 FE launched at $700. The RTX 3080 launched at $700. That's a modest and reasonable price increase and then kind of flatline over 4 generations. The RTX 4080 is $1,200. Where did that come from? The vast majority of consumers will never have $1,200 to spend on a graphics card, nor will they be interested in stretching their budget when previous generation 30 series options exist for far cheaper. Yes, I did expect a price increase for the entire 4000 series of cards. There's a new manufacturing process through TSMC's 4N node. There's more GDDR6X memory with the 4080 sporting 16 gigs of it. There's next-gen RT and Tensor cores and more CUDA cores overall, crammed into relatively the same size die. Here's a chart showing the CUDA cores across some recent NVIDIA GPUs. And I'm sure recent real-world events have really buggered up the manufacturing lines across Asia. But how we got a 71% increase in MSRP is kind of a mystery. Here's a chart showing the lowest current street price of relevant graphics cards as of the filming of this video. It's not entirely representative of what you might see in your region, and prices obviously fluctuate depending on current supply and promotions, etc. There was a time when the 3090 was under $1,000, and that wasn't that long ago, and we might well see that again. If we compare these prices to the RTX 3080 baseline, we can see things getting out of hand pretty quickly with the 4090 due to increased demand and low stock. But the 4080 is still 62% more expensive, and that's if you can score one at MSRP, which might be a pipe dream. So all that talk is basically to say, NVIDIA, if you're charging an arm and a leg for your new product, it better blow my socks off when I plug it in and fire up a few games. So let's dive into those results now. I will give the 4080 major props for a few things here. First, the power draw was impressively low for a card this powerful. Pulling 308 watts puts it way down on the chart versus other GPUs. And just for clarification, the RTX 3080 that you'll see on these charts from here out is the 12 gig model. If we were measuring performance per watt, the 4080 might well come out ahead of almost anything else. Another spot where it excelled was in sustained boost clocks, where it topped the chart over the 4090. This is likely a byproduct of its lower power consumption leading to less heat. Given that the 4080 and the 4090 use the exact same cooler, The 4080 can keep its clocks higher on average. The power and clock measurements were all taken after a 10-minute playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077, so we might as well start there. All the following tests were run at 4K and max settings with no ray tracing features enabled, just yet. 56 FPS average is nothing to sneeze at, and the 4080 beats out all of the past-gen cards while looking longingly at the 4090's big green bar. These tests were all run with the NVIDIA Press Driver 526.72, and the 6950 XT used AMD's Adrenalin 22.10.3. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was up next, with the 4080 stretching its lead over the 3090 Ti in an impressive fashion. It also creeps up closer to the 4090 in this test, and this is a great showing. Borderlands 3 brought us back down to earth though a little bit, but the 4080 still handily defeats its next closest rival, the 3090 Ti, and the 6950 XT is really not close. I do hope the 7900 XTX from AMD makes these charts a lot more interesting. Dirt 5 repeats what looked to be a trend, with the 4080 massively trailing the 4090 but maintaining its best of the rest status pretty easily. Performance-wise, the 4080 does look to be doing pretty well overall. F122 was more of the same, and I'm not entirely sure why the 4090 performs so well here relative to the field. The 4080 still beats the 3090 Ti by 11 FPS and the 3080 by 40 FPS. In Far Cry 6, things do bunch up a bit as we see the 6950 XT actually beating out the 3090, but the number 2 spot overall still belongs to this guy, the RTX 4080. Guardians of the Galaxy saw fairly linear scaling from the bottom of the chart up to the 4080, and with 142 FPS average, the new kid on the block is looking pretty good. Metro Exodus was a strong point for the 4080 as it puts up a 102 FPS average, 15 more than the 3090 Ti, and 28 more than the 3080 12GB. Red Dead 2 is the last gaming test that I ran, although I am looking to add Modern Warfare 2 to future charts. Here the 4080 hit 100 FPS on the nose, again, a really good score. So ignoring price, the RTX 4080 actually looks pretty good. It trounces the 3080 and puts significant distance between itself and the 3090 Ti. Here's a chart showing overall performance scaling over our 9-game test suite using the RTX 3080 as a baseline. You can see that the 4080 is on average 33.4% faster than the 3080. To make things a little clearer, here are some annotations showing the scaling between the cards. So you can now compare each card to the 3080 using the bars themselves, and also compare them to the next card down on the list using the annotations. The 4090 is on average 36.6% faster than the 4080, and the 4080 in turn is 13.8% faster than the 3090 Ti, etc. Let's see if that trend continues once we turn on ray tracing features in the games that support it. All other settings were kept the same here, and no DLSS was used. Ray tracing was turned on to Ultra if that option existed. Cyberpunk predictably saw significantly lower scores across the board, although the 6950 XT didn't really appear to be phased very much. Overall, the trend looks to be the same, with the 4090 the fastest by a lot, and the 4080 a comfortable second. As this order tends to hold, I'll scroll through the next few slides fairly quickly to get to the summary, which is the most important part. Feel free to pause the video if any particular result is of interest to you. I tested 6 games overall with RT features turned on and to the maximum setting available, including Dirt 5, F122, Far Cry 6, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Metro Exodus, and all were fairly similar. Here's the summary chart for performance scaling, again using the RTX 3080 as a baseline. We can see that the 6950 XT really falls off here, but the NVIDIA cards with dedicated RT cores all slot in where we might expect them to. The RTX 4080 boosts its overall lead here over the 3080 to 36.8%, and it leads the 3090 Ti by about 18%, although it still trails the 4090 by quite a lot. Let's be real. If we just look at pure performance data, the RTX 4080 is impressive. It slots in where it needs to in the NVIDIA stack. It's faster than the previous flagship RTX 3090 Ti by a significant amount, and it trounces the RTX 3080 by an average of about 35% between RT and non-RT applications. This is a generation over generation improvement that I can get behind. When the RTX 2080 came out, we all panned it, specifically because it was no faster than the GTX 1080 Ti and even lost to it in some tests. The RTX 4080 doesn't have that problem at all. It's a gaming beast. But it does have a different problem, and one that I don't think I'll be able to ignore really easily at all. The price is just too high. As I said in the opener, the 4090's price is almost justified because of how insanely fast it is. It's almost literally twice as fast as the RTX 3090 in some games, which is an absurd thing to think about. The 4080 doesn't have that cachet to hang its hat on. It's fast, no doubt, but is it $1,200 fast? Is it 71% more expensive fast? Is it something we've never seen before fast? It's not. I think if this card was $1,000, it would be just a pure recommend from me. It's got a ton of VRAM. It runs very power efficiently for its performance level. I've really come around to the cooler design, and yeah, it spits out a ton of frames. When we were first theorizing about what AMD's next-gen GPUs might look and perform like, everyone had visions of an RTX 4090 competitor dancing in their heads. Well, that's just not gonna happen. In fact, AMD themselves have said that the RTX 4080 is the actual target. But I'll say it, I think AMD might struggle to even keep up with how good this card is on a frame-by-frame basis. But the fact that the 7900 XTX is going to launch at $1,000 and will likely be at least fairly close in performance, while the FE 4080 is $1,200 and AIB models like the Strix are $1,500, could be a huge problem for Nvidia and their partners. Will we see prices drop when the 7900 series hits the market? I'm not sure. The RTX 4080 will sell out because, of course it will. That in and of itself may discourage Nvidia from bumping down the price. But if their goal is to get the 4080 into as many hands as possible, I think the $1,200 price really drives them out of a large portion of the market. And people might turn to a more reasonable option, whether that be AMD or even just a 30 series card. So that's the RTX 4080 in a nutshell. What do you guys think? Make sure to check in down below in the comments and share your thoughts. Also, check out the merchandise store to help support the channel directly, and consider getting subscribed if you're not already. As always, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.